Welcome to Extreme Talk presented by GracePointe Healthcare. Go to GracePointeHealthcare.com. If you mention you're with 8-Man Extreme, you get $20 off your new patient office visit. GracePointe Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. We're also fueled by Fairlife Core Power Protein as we welcome all of you watching and listening around the world as James gets on his headset last second. We're always last second here at the GracePointe Healthcare Studio. Spencer Thompson and James Shannon. First to the news, yep. I was giving an introduction, you know. Yeah, well, I already covered him. GracePointe Healthcare presenting the show, and fueled by Fairlife Core Power Protein. Might have some other sponsors along the way, and we'd like to give a special thank you to Coach Hunter Wilson for his wonderful nickname. So James reached into his dresser, got a clear, the Goodwill dresser, got a clear white shirt, and there it is. $1.50 like bargain bin, something like that.
Clothing marker, I guess.
Sharpie.
It's like a clothing Sharpie.
Clothing Sharpie. Laundry Sharpie, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, you have to. Yeah. By the way, buy a shirt. Yeah, I don't know if they'll be quite that quality. It'll probably be one of those with no, because it would be even better. It says Stephen A. Shannon. It has the James Shannon face of.
Can you imagine the margins we would have though if we made a shirt for $4 and sold it for $15?
That'd be insane margins. Yeah, that'd be insane margins.
Like 2 people would buy it and we'd cover our costs.
Yeah, that's a good idea. A lot of good ideas. So, but welcome in everybody. We're about less than 14 days away from the Jamboree. About 13 days now.
We're 19 days from the first game broadcast.
12 days.
First game broadcast.
From the first Jamboree. 12 days from the Jamboree, and then we're now 19. Oh yeah, some good people on that. You always are good with getting the pictures and such. It was really difficult in the beginning for you trying to find the players.
26. Do you know how hard it was to find 26? It was so hard that I don't even think we posted on that day. I think we posted something else.
Did you?
Last Sunday. I think I posted the TikTok.
That's actually a good question.
We didn't post anything last Sunday.
Yeah, nothing there. And you just posted another meme about 7-Man Extreme. By the way, whoever owns 7-Man Extreme, please, whoever owns 7-Man Extreme, give us a new. Whoever owns 7-Man Extreme, please give us new content.
All right, go ahead and turn that button back off.
Yeah, I just did.
All they need to do is be able to hear me.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
How did my mic usually goes here, or your mic usually goes here, mine goes here? How did we get flip flopped?
It's not that we're flip flopped. I just didn't tick a button on yours. Yeah, no one has to hear what you have to say.
3 shows in, and we're still muted.
Hey, by the way, 3 more followers and we reach 1,000 on Instagram. Let's get the 3 followers and such.
Let's do that. Let's get YouTube going.
By the way, James.
Oh.
Yeah, James, you're right.
Oof.
You didn't post anything on the 26 days.
You ever opened your camera? It's on selfie mode.
Yes.
And you just like cringe.
Yeah. That's
every
how
day.
it is.
It's every day, bro.
Yeah.
It's every day.
Every day shuffling.
No,
I know it's the wrong song, but that's the only thing I could think of in that. The only thing I could think of now is how my
3 from 1,000.
The only thing I could think of now is how my heart goes out to Riverside Christian Academy and their players. As James mentioned, we are good at getting out the news first to people, and we're good at trying to trusting our sources and everything. And we confirmed it with Coach O'Neill. Unfortunately, the Riverside Christian Academy Knights are not going to field the football team for, I believe, the first time in their school's history, maybe, because they've had an 8-man Riverside Christian Academy. They've had an 8-man football team. You always forget to flip back the cap until the last second, man. I just had to point that out.
It just depends. Sometimes I'm in the mood to wear forward.
Yeah, I'm always like James with
Sometimes
squirrel. But I think this is the first time that Riverside Christian has not fielded an 8-man football team, or hasn't been able to due to numbers. And I don't think there's been a time in their 11-man history where they couldn't field a team due to low players.
I think that'd be a Coach Creasy question.
No, that is a Coach Creasy question. But
hey, for the record, we're 119 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah,
from 1,000.
Keep clicking that subscribe. Get the bell on, as James used to say back in 2019, and he kind of stopped that catchphrase. But yeah,
get the bell on.
But no, Riverside Christian, they didn't have enough players come out to summer practices several times, and with their first game originally scheduled for that August 13th weekend, it's you got to hate it for the kids. You really do. I know that 2 of the players are heading to the Freedom Cowboys, and we're excited to see how they perform and such because we are covering the Freedom Cowboys this year. But
they still get to play FCA. No. They still get to play FCS.
Yeah, they get to play some of their matchups in that. But
how about that for the Cowboys?
Yeah, get FCA and FCS.
I got a couple of good players from Riverside. Mm-hmm. Now added to Josh Butler.
Coach Collins is going to have some fun. He's going to have some real fun this year.
It'll be a tough team. Hi, that Cowboys Tennessee Heat game.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a good matchup, and that occurs that Independence Bowl on October 29th. So that's gonna be fun. But again, for Riverside, you hate it, especially with Coach Creasy, who was already planning to step down from football. Step down from the head coaching position and focus more on the
school aspect of
it.
Yep,
because he's the campus minister, to my knowledge, and everything. So focusing on that this year. But
hey, and here's the positive: Riverside still has a middle school team. Mm-hmm. They're still gonna have middle school ball. They can still get kids up through that farm system and develop them. And maybe, hey, next year, I'm hoping they come back. I love our trips to Fayetteville. I love going down to Knight Stadium. Everyone is just hospitable. It's always a pleasant experience, even with the drive. Like the way that we get treated down there makes the drive worth it. There's places we've driven, and it was not worth it to go there. That is not one of those places. So I'm hoping they come back next year just ready to go.
And I wonder how many, because in the TSIAA bylaws, it's 7th through 12th grade is considered varsity. So I'm wondering how many players they have in 6th grade right now in that middle school team who could rise up to 7th grade and could potentially give them enough to field a team. But that also comes into question. How many 7th graders or 8th graders do you want to field on your varsity team?
Do you want to put on that team against a whole bunch of seniors?
Against seniors, exactly.
And that's a 5-year difference. That's 13-year-olds to 18-year-olds. There's a huge difference in there.
Yeah, that's the question. I wonder, I'm sure that was another option that Coach O'Neill and Coach Sloan is their athletic director at Riverside. I'm wondering if those are probably a lot of the many different factors they were considering going into 2021, and of course they made the decision that it was in the best interest of everybody involved. And you hate it for the majority of the kids that couldn't play football for Riverside and as a Knight, but now they get to play, at least some of them, the Freedom Cowboys. So
I mean, it'd be a little bit of a drive, but it kind of takes me back to the days of Aaron Academy being around.
Yep.
You had a couple guys that were driving out of Bowling Green, Kentucky, driving down to Hendersonville for practices and games. About a 45-minute drive. So
yeah, a good amount of drive.
If you want, and a couple of the Heat players do it too, going from Clarksville to Mount Juliet. So
yeah,
if you want to play ball, you'll do some stuff.
And the big caveat that comes into that as well, with Riverside being dropped out, we're back where we started with the Division II playoff structure. It's going to be the lowest team in the South and the lower 2 teams in the North. The official statement I have gotten from the Assistant Executive Director of the TSIAA asking about these situations said, "We are processing where we are at and hope to have a better plan by Tuesday." So the moment I hear anything or try to get an update for you, if you don't hear anything by Tuesday, it means I haven't gotten a response from him or the executive director or anybody within the football scheme or on the board. But that's what we're looking at right now, is that it's going to be 2 teams from the North, 1 from the South, which almost happened last year up until Sacred Heart had ineligible players, and then it was just FCS and Riverside from the South who played for the Division II championship and everything. But
Intac looking like the reverse of the SEC.
But yeah, that's the situation we're looking at right now. And again, that question comes into play of, Coach Ateka said, as far as it's been indicated, we are eligible for the playoffs, but I've not gotten an official confirmation yet from the TSIAA on if they are eligible. Because if Grace Baptist isn't eligible, that automatically means the lowest 2 teams in the North will play for the Division II championship. And that means they're going to get the same situation as Riverside and Classical, 3 weeks off of games until they play a Division II championship.
I would say they are.
Either
I would say that Grace is eligible.
Mhm.
Maybe just a calendar error, not realizing the dates.
Yeah, more than likely. But that means, but again, it's
This Division II stuff makes my head.
who do you, before we get into our coaches' interviews, just an interesting question for you by Division II. Well, actually, no, we have to save that for next week. I was going to ask who you think will be the Division II teams, but I got to wait until your predictions next week.
Season predictions coming next week.
Yeah, but
I should have saved this shirt for next week.
I think it's also a motivational factor for the South because you think about it only being 4 teams now in the TSIAA South. They all know now that only one of them, all 4 of them realize only one of us is going to be outside of the playoffs. Players look at each other. It's not going to be me. So now the South is just as competitive.
3 teams.
Yep, they got to beat 3 teams.
2.
You got to at least beat 2.
Yeah.
I think it's actually.
They can still get a coin toss involved.
If you beat 1 team in the South because you got 3 games, you're into the Division I playoffs. That's how it's going to be, unless all the teams win 1 game and then it's triangle stuff. But you win 2 games,
have
you're
a
guaranteed.
triangle with 4 people for the 4 teams.
No, for 3 teams. Because say for example, it's like Grace beats Lancaster, Lancaster beats Providence, and then Providence beats Grace Baptist, and then all of them lose to FCA.
That's fair.
So it could be a triangle.
But what if Providence beats Lancaster, Lancaster beats FCA, FCA beats Grace, Grace beats Providence?
Then it's a square. That's a square tiebreaker.
How would you do a coin toss between 4 teams?
No, don't do a coin toss. If it's a square tiebreaker, make them square dance. It's the South. It's the South. I mean,
freaking Northerner, man.
Northerner. I was born in the South. The majority.
I bet you half the people in those schools don't know how to square dance.
Well, I mean, FCA has their barn dance every year.
It's a school function. That doesn't mean they actually know how to barn dance.
Some of them did. Some of them, not all of them. You know what? I wonder with some players at some of these schools. I wonder. That's a good question that we should ask to some of the players before the game. Do they know how to barn dance? Just throw them off a little bit.
Let me tell you how excited I was about this interview this morning.
Oh yeah,
it's coming up.
Way too excited.
I woke up. I heated up my frozen sausage and biscuits. I put a big old dab of mustard on the plate, and I ate that breakfast to get ready for this one.
Okay. Mustard with the sausage and cheese. That's a good combo.
No, there wasn't cheese. Just sausage biscuit with mustard.
You really? You don't do like sausage, egg, and cheese?
Well, I didn't have sausage. They weren't sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits.
They were. It was literally just a biscuit with sausage.
Yeah,
the Jimmy Dean's. Yeah, those guys. But yeah.
If it would have been a weekday morning, I'd have got me a slice of breakfast pizza from Hunt Brothers and put some mayonnaise on it.
Oh yeah, yeah, Hunt Brothers. I still have not had that Hunt Brothers breakfast pizza. You built it up to me a lot over the years. I still haven't had a chance to try it.
I don't know if y'all have it down here in fancy part of town.
There's one place down from Page High School that has Hunt Brothers pizza.
Most of your country gas stations gonna have it.
Yeah, at least for Hunt Brothers, the only places I find it are up in Nashville. And like Smyrna and like outside. So that Hunt Brothers, the only location that's there is technically Arrington. I think is the zip code it's technically in. So that's the only place that I know of that's close to me that has Hunt Brothers. I don't know if they make the breakfast pizza though. That'd be a good question.
Should check into it. And if not, boycott them or protest.
Yep, you
hold a sign.
Yep, time to get the
breakfast pizza lives matter.
Quote Stephen A. Shannon on that. Breakfast pizza lives matter.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's time to get the traditional ring of the phone, as he calls our.
That might have to be a new thing.
But yeah, that's a new thing. You hear the ring back, or at least it should be. Maybe it's not. Maybe it may not pick up your ringtones on there. I don't know. It may
we should have sound right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it's on the inputs. At least it should be picking up.
every time. We need a producer.
Yeah, we needed a producer. We need technical support. Maybe it was swapped around.
Maybe
the
counseling.
cables.
Coach, are you there?
Counseling.
There we
There he
go.
is. There's the
Hey,
coach
it only took
himself.
one try instead of 15 this week.
Oh yeah, only took one try. We welcome in the head coach of the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors in JJ Duarte. Well, Coach,
Are we saying that right?
is it JJ Duarte? We got it right here. All right,
There we go.
perfect. Welcome to your debut on Extreme Talk. I know we've kept an eye on your team and the rest of your players and such the last several years. Just hasn't been aligned in the cards to start covering you guys fully, and now we're excited to possibly get down to Alabama once during the season and to cover you guys full time. Yeah, we're really excited to have you covered as well, Coach. So a lot of people don't necessarily know about your background, especially because this is your debut on Extreme Talk. So we'd love to get some insight on your background in coaching football and your journey that led you eventually to be the head coach of the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors. Yeah, we're having a little bit of technical issues here, Coach. We're trying to get you on. Just give us a moment here. One day the equipment's working for us, and the next day it gives us issues. That's how it goes.
We had them swapped. Yeah, we had them swapped, and then I swapped them back.
Coach, you there? All right, I think we got you. We got it figured out. So yeah, let's just start over here again. Your background in being a head coach for the football scene and what eventually led you to be the head coach of the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors. Yeah, 8 years is pretty impressive, especially for any homeschool organization. It's very much a difficult task, and I'm sure you did have conversation with Coach Ryan Scott about that, or any of the other homeschool organizations around the area. I mean, Freedom Cowboys, another great example of that in your state. It's difficult. How has that 8 year journey been specifically for you in trying to keep the program going, keep people involved, and to just keep people motivated to just come back every year and have pride in being a Lighthouse Warrior?
We did lose. Here it's local church private schools that don't offer the sports, so they can get the opportunity to play with us. But we're not actually a cover school. We were an organization built truly for kids that wanted the opportunity to play. And so our funding, we're a nonprofit, so all of our funds comes through athletic fees and fundraising. And so that can be uh, a time getting all those things in. But yeah, our families, we've got a great group of families, and everybody has brought into the program. And we've seen our players. We've actually got two players on our coaching staff that have come back. One of them has actually, he was a first year player in our first season, and he's been with us ever since. After he graduated, he's come back on staff. Clay Farrell, he's actually our wide receivers coach and special teams coach. And then we've got another returning player, Tommy Alcorn, that will be back with us this year, that graduated a couple years ago as our linebackers and running backs coach. So, uh, just all the families and all the former players have bought in, and it's just been amazing to see everybody stick together and work hard, because it's not easy. It's not something that one or two people can do. It really takes a community to come together and work hard.
Yeah, it's definitely a community effort in that regard. And you mentioned it a little bit with some players returning to come to the coaching scene and such. And 2021 is definitely a year vastly different from 2020, with all the shutdowns and everything that programs all across the United States had to go through. But especially for you guys being a homeschool organization, you're not bound to a specific a specific state's athletic regulations. I know at least in Tennessee, the Tennessee Heat, they had to go by the Tennessee Pledge instead of the TSSAA guidelines and such for coronavirus and all those things. But now, as far as I'm aware, you don't have to worry about that and such. But how good does it feel to actually be able to do summer workouts with your players and spend more one-on-one time with them and start building those relationships this summer as compared to the last?
Oh man, it's been fantastic. And yeah, last year was definitely a trial, a season of trials, and just trying to make sure that we're doing the best we can to keep all the kids safe. And uh, we only, last year we were blessed to be able to finish out and have a great season last year. But we actually just finished up our. We hold a fall camp every year. We take the team to a local camp, and we just finished it up this morning. We had our last practice this morning at 6 a.m. And so all the kids that were returning, we talked about last year. So last year, of course, everything, water on the sideline was, everybody had to have their own water bottles. And when we had masks and all those things that we were trying to take all the precaution necessary steps. And I mean, it was just so difficult to as a coach, just to do the things that you're used to, especially growing up in football and playing football in high school and the collegiate level. And then all of a sudden you get all these guidelines thrown at you that you have to follow. And so it was very difficult, but we're so excited, and that things have gotten better, and that we're not necessarily in the same place we were this time last year. So it's given us a lot of opportunity. We've got our weight room is we actually have it in the bottom of one of our my church, the local church. And so being able to get in there and be in close quarters with each other and get workouts in has definitely been a game changer, coming into this year, again, considering last year we didn't get to do that or have a spring last year. So really excited to see these kids grow and get another year of the weight room and summer training under their belts.
Which players stand out the most to you from summer 2021? Which ones stand out to you as your team leaders going into the season, and guys that you can really lean on to lead the charge for you guys going into this fall?
So we've got Preston Graham returning as he'll be a senior this year. He's been our starting quarterback for the last 2 years, actually 3 years. Um, he's a great leader. He's a big athletic kid, about 6'4", 165, 170. He's really learned our offense. His arm has continued to get stronger and stronger. He's been putting himself in a bunch of camps this year throughout the summer, and hopefully has the opportunity to play at the next level. As a few coaches reaching out to him, so he's going to be he's going to be a big plus for us this year coming into his senior year, especially with all the experience he's had. Um, we've also got we've got a couple running backs, linebackers that are young, that are going to be great for us. Ben Hirsch and Clay Boatman that's coming in with, both of them. Last year was really their first year to get a lot of reps on varsity, so they're going to be a big help to the our varsity team this year. We've got a wide receiver, Kellen Smith, which will be a senior that's been around the program. He's been around the program since he's been in 8th grade. And so he's going to be a big help for us at receiver, and as also at some defensive backs position, cornerback. We've got a young line, but our line is continuing to get better. We had a pickup over the summer, a kid that has joined the program, a big lineman that's going to help us up, be able to step in and help Damian Zabala, that was kind of a surprise to us this year that we wasn't expecting. So he's going to be a big help. And just our sophomore and junior class are a bunch of great guys and has been working hard. So this is going to be their year to really prove themselves, and we're excited to see what they can do.
Coach, a lot of people in the last couple years have circled the NHSA National Championships in Panama City as kind of like an end goal, like if we do this, this, and this, then we'll look at going, or if we're able to accomplish this, then that's what we want to shoot for. What is that goal that you guys, or if you guys have set that goal, what is that goal that you guys have set to where, hey, if we accomplish this, then we're going to pursue going to Florida and possibly even facing defending 3-time national champion Evangel that's in your conference?
Yeah, so one of our goals, last year we really wanted to make that trip to Panama City, and one of those things were just, again, as we were talking about earlier, just as an organization and the way that 2020 was, and not being able to have the fundraisers that normally, funds all the things that we do, that kind of held us back a little bit. And so this year we were talking about it, and hopefully this year we can start that, and that is a goal of ours to as we continue to grow and continue to see success, is to really get down there. And yeah, you're right. We have Evangel Christian is always that team that we as a program, we have not beat them on a varsity game, and that's one of those teams that we want to go after, and that's the team that we have not had success against yet. So but yeah, I think we're there. If we can't get down there this year, it's definitely something that we're gonna really put in the motion to get down there next year. So just getting everything in the right place, and the way we're kind of built with all the families spread around you, that also plays into our dynamics. So we're hoping that that trip either happens this year, and hopefully for sure next year.
You guys are on the road for 4 games this year, and a couple places that I'm sure you've been before. Where are you looking forward to going the most?
Really excited about a new team in our conference, Southern Christian, to go down and play Opelika. I know they've grown. Last year was their first year as a program. Looking forward to getting down to Opelika meeting Coach Adams on the football field. And from what I've heard, the stadium, Moore Stadium that we'll be playing in, has a lot of historical background. So excited to get down there. Um, I know that'll be a great one. And of course, as always, our big rivalries. We getting to we don't Ezekiel comes this way, but Evangel Christian getting back down to Evangel Complex with Coach Tim. It's always exciting getting to play those guys, and just the energy that they have and the energy our fans bring. It's always a great time. So looking forward to traveling to those places, and those would be especially Evangel Christian. If we could go in there and pull out a W, that would be huge for our program. Coach Smith is a great guy, and enjoy that competition there. And it's not necessarily a away game, but we're really looking forward to playing Tennessee Heat this year. Tried to get them on the schedule the last couple of years, but just our schedules and the weeks we had open didn't work out. So, Coach Scott and those guys, excited to have them down. And then next year we'll be actually returning the favor and going up to them. So look forward to building that relationship.
And I'll tell you what, a couple years ago, there wasn't a whole lot of there was a little bit over the last probably the first few years of me doing this, a little bit of Tennessee Alabama crossover, but now it seems like on a yearly basis there's 2, 3, 4 games between the states. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I love the interstate competition. I'm ready for Tennessee to get involved with Mississippi or Georgia. I know Alabama's a little bit easier with the travel, but I love the interstate competition outside of a Panama City tournament. Spence, you got a question?
No, yeah, you're absolutely right to that point. It's a shame we can't get Kentucky versus Alabama anymore, Kentucky versus Tennessee, at least for this year.
I don't think we ever got Kentucky.
We got a scrimmage last year between the Freedom Cowboys and Bowling Green Warriors.
That's true.
I think it was either a scrimmage or it was going to happen and then it got canceled.
It was going to happen and it got canceled because of the travel between the states.
It was on the slate, at least. I love those state matchups as well. And you mentioned Coach, you mentioned that it would be big for you guys to get a win against the Evangel Lightning. That'd be good for your program. That reminded me of that really close win you guys had last year that got you into the state championship partially against Ezekiel Academy on that the last second touchdown, the last second plays there. I want to know what was going through your mind during that entire game when you had a tough matchup with the Ezekiel Academy Knights and Coach Hunter Wilson.
Man, well, I'll tell you what, we had, which he graduated last year, but Isaac Aycock that kicked the field goal to make us go up 1 point. And I promise you that ball hung in the air. I felt for like 10 minutes. It went straight up and straight down. Felt like my heart stopped. And that was a huge win for our program. Again, that was the first time that our program had beat Ezekiel Academy. Coach Hunter Wilson down there has got a great program. He's got a group behind him that really has bought into what his offense and to his defense, and they're a tough group of kids to beat. We had a few things fall our way, and I know they had some their quarterback that they had last year, just a stud down there, and I know he got injured, and they had some problems, getting the backup, ready to play and things like that. But man, we went into that game, and our guys were pumped. We were excited. It was the first time we had the opportunity to really put ourselves into a championship game in our conference, and they went out there and gave it everything they had, and just things fell in place. And that's one thing, I try to tell our guys, that just go out there and give it everything we got, put in the hard work, and good things happen to those teams that put their heart into it and put their guts, and so that was a fun game. It was a great game. It was an exciting game for our program, and again, just coming down to that field goal, and everything setting up the way it did. We had a big run. I believe it was Ben Hurst that ran in around the end to give us that last score to tie it up, and again, that's another thing that our practice field this year is actually the first year that we've had a field goal, so we don't even have a field goal that we get to practice on. So that's even bigger for our program. So,
Coach, all right, we got the ACSC. A couple years ago, we had 2 conferences here in Tennessee. One kind of dropped off, and obviously now we have the one up here, along with some independents. You got the ACSC down there, and you have the CFA. Which conference is better?
Oh, I would say the Alabama Christian Sports Conference.
All right. That's the right answer.
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
think it'd be awkward if the coach in ACSC was like, yeah, CFA's kind of better. That's not to say we don't have teams in CFA. I don't think I've ever gotten to do a game out of a team from the CFA.
You got to travel down there.
I got to travel and see a Russell game. We didn't get to broadcast it because I left the laptop at the Tennessee state line. But anyways, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, we usually play a few games in crossover. This year I've only got one of those games, which is Tabernacle Christian. We'll be going to Gardendale and playing them, but we always love the opportunity to play those guys. Usually, traditionally we play Tuscaloosa Christian, and they're a bunch of great guys. But I just the competition, I feel like in our conference is it's tough. Just thinking about last year and thinking about the way our championship fell out, and then seeing Coach Tim and Coach Hunter playing down in Panama City, and really there's some tough teams in our conference, and we got other teams. You think about East Central and Southern Christian that are coming up, and I'm hearing good things about them, that they're having a great summer and getting ready to get after it. So I think our conference is continuing to grow, and not just growing by teams, but teams that are going to bring competition on Friday nights.
Is North River independent?
I believe they are. I know at one point I believe they were AISA, but I think they've been independent for the last couple of years.
Gotcha.
So.
Now, Coach, I don't know if you caught the show last week, but Coach Hunter Wilson has started a tradition now. James is now Stephen A. Shannon, and now we've decided to run with this tradition. Whether the coach chooses to or not, we leave it up to them. But it's time for the coaching hot take. We'd like to know if there are any hot takes, any opinions on games, or anything like that you'd like to get off your chest on.
The only caveat is it can't be political or religious. Anything football, like for instance, I said pre-show, we were sitting around talking pre-show. I said, for me, I am not impressed by Jersey Mike's subs.
You also said you can't stand meatballs on subs.
I do not do meatball subs.
Stuff like
I think that is ridiculous.
We're giving you your chance to be
meatballs belong in spaghetti, and that's period.
We're giving you, Coach Roland, we're giving you the chance to be. We're giving you a chance to be the Stephen A. Shannon of the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors. So the floor is yours.
I'm disappointed in the Jersey Mikes.
I'm not impressed.
My feelings are kind of hurt.
Okay, so my 5. I'm going to go Quiznos at 5 because I've never been there. And then I'm going to go Jersey Mike's. And then I'm going to go Firehouse, and then Jimmy John's, and then Subway. Actually, I might swap Jimmy John's and Subway. Those are my top 2, though.
Oh, man.
I don't think we're going to be welcome down at Lighthouse Homeschool after you saying that.
No, that's good stuff. I would go Subway as my number 5.
Man, come on, you can't do Subway.
I would go my number 1, Jersey Mike's, Lenny's Shop.
Lenny's, yeah.
Jimmy John's, and then Firehouse, and then Subway. Yeah.
I'm not blown away by Firehouse.
It's all right. It's all right. But yeah, Coach, is that what you're sticking with? You got any football hot takes or things you want to?
Okay. Let's go with recent news. I am of the opinion that Texas and Oklahoma do not belong in the SEC.
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And if they do come to the SEC, I think we kick Texas A&M and Missouri out. We can only have a certain number of non-Southern teams in the SEC. And to me, Texas A&M and Missouri are not Southern teams. Big 12 can have them.
No, I'm with you.
Okay.
I would, to be honest, I was a little skeptical about the Missouri and Texas A&M, but I think they've come in and fit pretty well. But I just don't know about those Sooners and Longhorns. I don't think
I've never considered Texas and Oklahoma to be Southern, but that's just me.
No, yeah, I'm with you.
Texas has its own brand. It's its own thing.
It seems like every show we start talking about college football instead of staying on the 8-man football
we're in
subject.
Tennessee and
but
Alabama.
Yeah.
That's what we've got.
Yeah.
I heard somebody from California trashing the fact that people in Alabama care so much about college football. They're like, well, that's the only thing you have. You don't have any pro sports. Like, yeah, you would say that for someone who has trash college teams across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love some college football down here, and it causes a lot of problems at times, but it's fun.
You got any coaches takes around your years around the 8-man football scene?
Do I have any what now? Sorry.
Any coaches hot takes around the 8-man football scene? Anything about tiebreakers or matchups or strategies? Anything?
I don't know if it's really a situation, thinking about that, but what I guess is just a thought that I would love to see. And like you said, the crossovers between Alabama and Tennessee outside of the Panama City tournament. I don't know if we'll do it this year again. I haven't heard back from them, but last year we had did some crossover with Georgia and had a little border war with Harvester Academy.
There you go.
Okay.
Georgia. Man, I would love to see some of that with Alabama teams and and Tennessee or and you guys. One thing that I've thought about ever since I've gotten 8-man. That's why thinking about you guys and all that you do. We thank you for what you do for these players and getting them out there and getting them some exposure. And one thing that I would love to see if maybe we could sit together and make it happen. But if we had a 8-man media day and did some with Alabama teams, Tennessee teams, and maybe figure out a location that we could all meet at and get an opportunity to spend a Saturday together and
I guess Chattanooga
put us in the hot seats and ask us all these questions in front of each other and get the guys there. So I think that would be a great opportunity.
I guess Chattanooga would probably be.
That'd probably be the ideal place at Grace Baptist, since they're in the 8-man scene. Maybe Coach Tecco would be willing to host it or coordinate some of that, especially because next year they're going to have their field back after all the hurricanes and everything. That'd be a good warm up phase to welcome in their new field and facilities and everything. That's a great idea, Coach.
I'm down with it. We did something like that for Tennessee coaches back.
Yeah, that was the coaches
ago.
forum.
Yeah,
that was right before the Jamboree at CCS. That was back 2018. Yeah, 2018. That was like right at the beginning of the season and everything. But yeah, no, great idea, Coach. We appreciate it. That's definitely something that have to go forward with. But
there you go.
Well, Coach Duarte, we appreciate you taking the time on your Sunday. I know it's busy down there as you're prepping for the season and everything. We're looking forward to covering you and your players throughout the 2021 season, and hopefully we'll either make our way down to Alabama or who knows, we might see see you guys on the road.
We'll be down in Bama.
Yeah, we'll be down
in Bama.
Well, I mean, we'll be down in the state of Alabama. Hopefully, we'll be down in the Lighthouse neck of the woods going to the 2021 season.
Yeah, well, we'll go down to Alabama. We'll do a game, and then we'll hop on I-65, which is the best thing to come out of Alabama.
Oh,
you just want to say things that won't work.
I'm Stephen A. Shannon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Yeah. Shots fired. Well, Coach, appreciate you taking the time. We'll see you in the remainder of the fall.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you.
All right,
Man, it's just every time you get some Alabama coach on here, you always got to mention the I-65 comment.
Hey, listen, it's a great dad joke. It's a great dad joke, and I'm a dad. I almost said I'm a joke.
It's
some people.
Well,
to some people,
you see. All right. Well, I think that was a good conversation. I haven't had the chance to interact with Coach Duarte before, and I think that was pretty good.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Good guy. Looking forward to covering them this year and talking about some of the guys that they've got coming up. He mentioned Preston Graham. I got to see him play quarterback last year through some of the film that we watched, and really excited to see that team coming up. They've got some guys they're going to miss. Guys like Brody Pounders and Isaac Aycock that Coach mentioned, but I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, that I'm excited. You could tell there were several players returning that he was really excited about. I bet you would like another year with his field goal kicker after that dramatic stuff. Yeah, that. No, but that was especially because we were watching that in the studio back last year after that Ezekiel and Lighthouse game. We were watching the last few seconds of the playback BP1 Sports shout-out on that one. But we were watching back on their broadcast or just seeing the film on it, and it was a close game. I think it leveled out the playing field because although Ezekiel in the national championship only put up 2 touchdowns against Evangel, you could tell there was a level playing field with their starting quarterback being injured that week and having to depend on their other guys to play against Lighthouse. And that just speaks to Ezekiel and how good of a team they were comprised of in 2020.
I love Tennessee 8-man. I love the Tennessee Heat. I love Tennessee 8-man.
Mhm.
I don't know that there's and we got robbed because we didn't really get – we got the Tennessee Heat Evangel, which Evangel won. We didn't get a Tennessee – well, Ezekiel beat – or no, Evangel beat the Heat again in Panama City. But outside of the Heat, we didn't get an Alabama-Tennessee game.
Yep.
Oh, we got some Freedom Cowboys. I
Yep.
take that back. I think between Evangel, Lighthouse, and Ezekiel – had a brain fart. Between those three teams, there's no Tennessee teams that would have beat the three of them.
There's a Stephen A. Shannon take there.
I got to
There it
stick
is
with
again.
it. And I don't think it's happening this year.
Do you think?
I don't think any Tennessee team that plays one of those three teams is going to win this year.
And you'll give your predictions next week as well for most likely which team is going to head down to Florida for the national championship, because it can happen now. It happened. It's happened the last several years, but now it can officially happen.
Especially since Tennessee is 0-3 in Florida.
Oh yeah. Well, no, they're not 0-3 because 2017.
Well, okay,
CCS
okay.
Won. I mean,
So
they're 1-3.
Okay. So
Tennessee
CCS
team's
beat
1-3.
Russell.
Yep, 2017.
Out of Mississippi.
And then,
So
18, it wasn't in Florida, but the national championship.
Right,
at
but
least.
Evangel
It
beat
was 1-1.
CCS.
Mm-hmm.
You had 19, you had Evangel beating Ezel Harding.
So 1-2.
20, you had Evangel beating the Heat.
So 1-3.
And I know this sounds like, well, it's just Evangel that would have beat these teams. Okay, well, you still had Ezekiel beating Evangel last year.
Mm-hmm.
So who's to say what would have happened between Ezekiel and Tennessee Heat? It would have been a good game. It would have been very interesting.
Yeah.
We got robbed. I hate it.
Yeah, you really wanted a
Am
Tennessee
I upset?
Heat.
No.
No, a little, but you really wanted Tennessee Heat and Ezekiel Academy in the national championship. That would have been a good matchup.
Let's see, 2019. I don't know.
Yeah,
I still don't. I don't know. You'll have to find out next week. You'll have to tune in.
James will give his
season predictions coming next week.
Yep, he's got a season prediction.
I'm excited to see if we can up it from my predictions being on painted on one field to maybe two.
And you're doing the pre-jamboree as well again.
Pre-jamboree.
And last year you didn't have a jamboree to go off of, so you're going to give your predictions the Sunday before the CCS jamboree for the TSIAA
I feel like it would be
teams.
cheating if I did it the Sunday after the jamboree, because there'd be some teams that I'd have an idea. I'd be able to see in person. There's teams that I can't see in person. I feel like this is across the board, a somewhat informed guess. It's predictions.
Yeah, it's predictions. Let's go ahead and get our next coach ready for next interview. And you
want to tell everybody who it is? For those that aren't following us on social media,
sure.
First off, what are you doing with your life?
There's a lot of that's a really valid question. So we got the Southern Preparatory Academy Fighting Rangers head coach Roland Bell. Most people say Southern Prep anyway. There's the signature ring. There's the signature ring for this, and
it was really loud.
It's your phone, Hello. Man. There he is. Welcome to the show, Coach Roland Bell, the head coach of the Fighting Rangers Southern Prep Academy. Coach, welcome to your debut of Extreme Talk, and excited to cover the Southern Prep Fighting Rangers this year.
Well, I got to tell you, it's 8-man extreme for
it. Glad to hear. I love it. So, Coach, since this is your debut, we want to give you an opportunity to just talk about your background and how what your experience has been in the football coaching scene as well as 8-man football, and just give us some insight on how you eventually arrived to be the head coach of the Fighting Rangers.
All right. Well, that's a long story, but
we got time.
I'll give you a synopsis.
All right.
Well, I grew up at a little bitty town in Alabama playing football, and then I went on and played at Troy University, and then I came out and the first school I was at where I was assistant coach was a big 6A school in Alabama, and I just didn't feel like I fit in. I needed something smaller, so dropped down to a 5A school, and was there for 3 years. It still just felt too big, and went to a 4A, which then later dropped to a 3A. And while I was there, I was the the head junior high coach for 8 years. And, I was putting in for, varsity jobs here and there, but, I was just trying to make myself better at that point. Working on, my own philosophy and strategies. But then I left there and I took, an offensive coordinator job at the smallest high school in Alabama, public high school in Alabama, that played football. And first game up, quarterback throws for 409 yards, which ranked 9th all time in the state of Alabama at that time. Now it's, I think, down around 20th or 25th. But, I stayed there for 3 years offense coordinator, then 2 years the head coach. And then I resigned from doing that and started a traveling arena football team. So, I took guys from 18 to 35 all over the Southeast playing professional games. And, basically it was like a travel tryout team. A lot of these guys couldn't get tryouts with some of these professional indoor teams because they hadn't played 4 years of college ball. But then after our games, they were being offered pro contracts because, well, you just showed out against us. So, and after that, I took some family time. My son was playing youth football, and his head coach, who had played for me, was moving up an age group, and I wanted to coach him. So I coached him 3 years in youth football and won a whole bunch of ball games doing that. Then, I noticed that Lyman Ward Military Academy needed a head football coach. And, I called him up, sent him my resume, and the athletic director called me up and said, we've already done all of our interviews and we're about ready to hire somebody, but I see your resume and I feel like we need to talk to you since you've already done arena football. We play 8-man up here. And, well, the rest is history.
There you go.
Well, it's amazing how in those situations when you send a resume and they say we've already finished our interviews and everything, and they're still like, we still need to have that conversation with you. That's how you know that you're more in a position than most other candidates to get the job and such. And I didn't know that you were experiencing arena football. How was that compared to what you're doing now with the 8-man high school football scene? What what differences you say are between coaching arena football and coaching 8-man football?
Well, I'm not asking kids to run in the walls on purpose. No, when I was doing the arena football, we were playing almost all of our games on the road because we didn't have a stadium, or I say a stadium, we didn't have an indoor arena. So one year, 2013, we had a league call us up and say, hey, what do you think about joining our league? I said, well, we don't have an arena. We'd have to play everything on the road. And they said, well, we've seen your film of where you've played some semi-pro teams, and, on a regular football field, I set up traffic barrels as the wall, and, I'd used PVC pipe, made my own goal posts, because they're only 10 feet wide.
Right.
And anyway, I had the field set up exactly like arena football, 50 by 25. And they said, we've seen it, and the teams in our league, their coaches and owners have seen it, and they said, we'd like to go play on that. So 2013, we were AIFL members, and it was a stupidly weird experience. Oh, you're going to understand in just a minute. All right, so I told him, I said, look, we've already got 3 games already set up because people would pay us to come play them because we weren't just like a semi-pro team. All of our guys, I was strict about what you wore, and everything was going to match. We were going to look the part. And anyway, so teams would pay us to come play us because we looked professional and we played professional. We just, they always beat us, but it was always a good game. And then they would steal some of my players. But so that 2013 season, we played a couple of those out of conference games, and then like the next week we were supposed to have a team from I think Cleveland come down. They had already played a couple of weeks of their season, and then like a couple of days before they're supposed to travel down to play us, they folded. And the commissioner called me up. He said, "Coach, it's good and it's bad. Cleveland folded, but you're 1-0. So
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
all right. Well, this is the stupidly weird part. Every single week of the season, the teams folded the week before they're supposed to play us.
What?
So we ended up in league 10-0, and at the end of the season, we were the only team left in the South. So we had an automatic berth in the championship game, and there were still two teams up north playing. And I think it was like a team out of New York and maybe a team out of Detroit or something like that. And they played in their Northern Championship game, and I think it was a team out of New York won. So it was going to be, all right, New York and Alabama in the championship game. Both of them folded.
Wow.
What?
So we were 2013 AIFL league champions, and we never played a game in the league.
That's great.
Well, I mean, you could say that you're the league champions one way or another.
That's
but
awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, and okay, so you've met my offensive coordinator, Matt Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He played all 5 years arena football for me.
Right.
So like when I got that call that I was being offered the job at Lyman Ward, it was, my wife said, "You got to make this as stress-free as possible." So I'm like, well, okay. So I got a phone with her and I called Matt and said, "Hey, your mama said I got to make this as stress-free as possible. So how you feel about running my offense?" He said, "You've never let anybody run your offense." I said, "Yeah, did you hear me? Mama said it's got to be stress-free as possible, and if I'm calling my own offense, I won't sleep the entire football season."
Oh man.
So he agreed to do it, and after the first few games, I asked him. I said, "So how much you been sleeping?" He said, "I hadn't." And I said,
Oh,
"Well, that's strange because I've been sleeping like a baby."
I've been sleeping for both of us.
And then this past year, about midway through the year, I said, has your sleep gotten any better? He said, "Nope." I said, "So what, you're like 2.5 years still no sleep?" He said, "Yep." I said, "Good, because I'm still sleeping like a baby."
Oh man.
That whole strict uniform thing, that perfectly works over to Southern Prep, though, with it being a military school, doesn't it?
Speaking of which, Coach, take us behind the scenes a little bit of coaching a football team at a military school. There hasn't. I know there's some around, and you see some of the big college schools. Obviously, your Army, Navy, Citadel, Air Force. But on a high school level at a military school, take us kind of behind the scenes about of coaching a high school football team in that environment.
Well, I'll tell you, it's like when I talk with Coach Smith from Evangel, I mean, almost every time we have a conversation, he's like, "Coach, I just want to tell you, I got all the respect for you in the world." And, at first I'm like, "Oh, okay, why do you say that?" He said, and, he doesn't know all the details, but he kind of senses it. But I've filled him in on it. It's like, your typical school, kids get out of school at 3 o'clock. They're on the field by 3:30, and practice is over when coach gets tired enough, which is typically going to be 6:30, 7:30, whatever.
Right.
At Southern Prep military school, there's a schedule we have to adhere to, and that's it.
Mm.
So we don't get the kids on the field till about 4 o'clock, and 5:45 I've got to release them because they have to go get in formation for supper.
Right.
And then, you know, of course, I don't get them afterwards because, you know, they've got study hall. They have mandatory study hall every night. And, you know, of course, they got to get their rooms squared away and all that stuff. So, you know, during the typical week, we only get them Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for practice. We don't get them on Wednesdays because that's their time to practice marching. And so, you know, we get about 4.5 hours practice per week. So, you know, it's like I've been trying to. I mean, of course, I was doing it before I got here, but I've really been pushing it, and it's a necessity now. But I really push practicing fast and furious,
Right.
because, you know, we don't get a lot of time. And, you know, like Matt, I've you know, worked with him every year to get a little faster, a little faster, a little faster. And in the spring, we did split up into a blue and white. We were going to have scrimmage, and normally I kind of let him work offense both sides. And this year I was like, you know, let me put my hand back in the cookie jar for a minute here. And I was the offense coordinator for the blue team, and Matt was offense coordinator for the white team. And one day after practice, we met in the coach's office, you know, and I was like, so how many plays did you get in today? And the coach that were working with him said, oh, he did real good today. He got in 40, maybe 50 plays. And, you know, in the hour and a half. I said, well, that's not bad. You're getting better. And they just kind of looked at me real strange. It was like, how many plays do you get in? I said, it was about 200.
Good job, young fella.
Good job.
And they, you know, their jaws just dropped. And my defensive coordinator, you know, Coach Sky, you met him as well.
Right.
He was my defense coordinator for this game, and he was like, he just busted out laughing. He's like, he ain't kidding. Said he split everybody up into two groups, and he'd call the play, and as soon as he got the play called, my job was start counting down from 10. And in those 10 seconds, he's making quick coaching points, and the ball better be snapped before it gets to 0. And as soon as that play is over, he says, group 2, formation, play. And then while I'm counting down from 10, he's fixing what the last group did, couple spots, and turning around real quick and telling the new group, did you see that? I want you doing this. I want you doing that. And boom, ball snap. First group, here's the play. You know, we just got in like 200 plays and as quick as we could get them.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's now with only 4.5 hours a week of practice. I didn't even know it was that short, because like you mentioned, it's usually about 3 or 4 hours a day when it comes to the rest of the programs that we cover and such. Was that so? When you guys went down to Florida and you had way more flexibility than the normal schedules, how much did that help you guys in preparing for the semifinal?
We were able to practice more.
There you go, Spence.
Yeah.
You tossed that softball right down the middle.
Yeah. That's true. Hey, you're absolutely right. But
no, I mean, but when we went down to Florida, things are a lot more relaxed. You know, and at that point, we already know, you know, both sides of the ball, what we're doing. And at that point, we've already either played, like this year, Ezekiel, or, you know, last year it was Pack Panthers. You know, we had plenty of film, so, you know, we've already researched. We already know what we're going to do, and we've practiced it, you know, beforehand. So once we got down to Panama City, and, you know, we're actually now we got all day we can work with these boys. It was just a lot more relaxed, just more chill, because I mean, we're down there to have fun.
Right.
And you know, we've already put in the work, so now it's just fine tune a few things and let's get out there and bust some heads.
Hey, you've had Nye the last couple years, and he really showed up. Had a great year last year, and then we were able to see him down there in Florida. But with him graduating, who were some guys coming up that you've seen over the summer, seen over the spring that you're really looking forward to seeing them out on the field?
Well, we had down in Florida this past year with number 2, Ernest Moore. He's taken over at running back, and he's quicker, he's faster, he's got more moves. He's just unproven.
Right.
I mean, he's proved it to us in practice, but he just didn't get a chance really to do anything last year because Nye was a workhorse, and of course Nye was more of a power running back. Even though he wasn't that big, he was going to light you up.
Right.
And we've got our quarterback and our number 1 receiver both returning, and we're, of course, that was when we split up in the spring. I gave Coach Kelly the starting quarterback, and another kid who was probably going to be the starting running back, but he ended up he's already withdrawn. He's not coming back to school. And I took Ernest and Garrett Peebles. So they were the 2 receivers down there in Panama City.
Right.
I pulled them into the backfield for me. So I used Garrett Peebles as quarterback, and he never played quarterback in his life. And then I used Ernest at running back, and he's always played defense or maybe some wide receiver. He hadn't run the ball, and we put up about 70 points on him in the spring game. And the way I had it, I had my group 1 and group 2s, and that group 1 are the ones that put up about 70 points.
Right.
And and they alternated every series, so they only played half a game. So everybody was like, okay, so who's your quarterback next year? Peebles? And I said, well, no, Wolf is still the better quarterback. They're like, he just torched the other team. I'm like, yeah, that's just showing off his athleticism.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I said, now I've got a plan to get him the ball a lot more this fall, because he didn't, in my eyes, he didn't get enough last year.
Right.
We relied on Nye, and this year I've got it set up where people aren't going to know where we're coming from. I got 4 guys on the starting offense who can touch the ball on any play, either on the ground or through the air. And I lost my offense coordinator and my defense coordinator.
Yeah, I heard about that. Congrats to both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the defense coordinator was our aviation director, and he took a job because, he was aviation at our school, just in his little classroom, but
Right.
he's taken a job building an aviation school.
Oh, wow.
So he's really loving that chance to really step up and do that. And
There you go.
the offense coordinator, he is now he's my equal. He is the athletic director, head football coach at the Oaks in Auburn.
Okay.
And of course, the first game he scheduled was us for homecoming, which it was another one of those stupid weird things. We had a homecoming opponent, and the exact week that he gets that job, our homecoming opponent had to cancel on us. So, me and Matt, we still talk every day.
Right.
And so we were just talking. I said, dang it, Sparta just canceled on me. And he said, well, you want us to play you? It's like,
Wow.
well, my first question was, what you got? But yeah, we're hosting them for for homecoming. They played football 2 years ago in the gaps.
Yeah.
And then this past year they were not able to field a team, and now this upcoming year they're getting everything back together.
There you go.
Not too bad, Coach. You know, looking at your schedule, you've got some good matchups going down the going down through the season, including facing off against some other teams in Alabama, and you know, we've got our eyes on some games. But what matchups are you looking forward to the most this season, where you're ready to get another shot against this team, and you know, kind of any matches that are particularly on your eye, as this is going to be a good matchup?
All of them. Seriously, our first two games are 11-man against Cornerstone, who we beat last year, and I mean, you know, they're just a good, tough opponent. They beat us the year before.
Right.
And then next we play Springwood, and last year, you know, again, a good, tough game, and we came up 1 yard short. We were down by a touchdown, and as the horn went off, quarterback scrambling around, throws a bomb, and our receiver catches it and gets tackled at the 1.
Wow.
And at that point, we had so much momentum, and we had them run ragged. We were in better shape than they were, and you know, if we had got that touchdown, we were going to go for 2. We were going to win it, but we did. So I'm looking forward to that. And then week 3, you know, last year Westwood was GISA 8-man state champion, and they beat us over there. So we're looking forward to them coming to our place and returning the favor. And then, you know, the middle part of the schedule is, you know, there's a bunch of new teams on there we haven't played before. Some, you know, that we have, but you know, it's just kind of work through the schedule. But you know, you want to talk about games we're focused on. The last 3 weeks of the regular season, Ezekiel, Trinity, and then Evan, all on the road.
Yep.
So
It's a tough stretch.
It's a tough stretch, Murderers Row, but we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, those are going to be some good matchups, and as you mentioned, it is tough, especially with you got your last home game of the season on October 8th against Calhoun County, and then just going on the road for all 3 of those games. That's going to be a tough one. But I think it's I mentioned it before with some of the coaches' interviews we've done, but I think those games are good measuring sticks just to see where your team is, how you can evaluate, how you can improve, and you know, you've had conversations with Coach Smith on that, but how exciting is it for you to end your season facing off against the Evangel Lightning?
Well, you know, really, Coach Smith and I, we wanted to play it earlier in the year because our thinking is we're going to play, and then 2 weeks later we're going to play again.
Right.
You know, because you know we're hope we're good enough to be invited back to the tournament. But you know, if we are, great. We hope to get to play them again. If we're not, then, well, you know, obviously Evangel probably beat us, and there's no need to go. But you know, if we're invited, we're good enough, we'll go.
For sure.
Yep.
Hey, getting to coach down there or over there in Gatlinburg at the All-American game. How cool of an experience was that, and being able to take your coaches and take Nye up there?
That was awesome. You know, we were coaching on the team that we had. We were coaching a bunch of the kids that we had played against
Right.
During the season, and you know, that was great to get to know them personally. And then later in the year, when they come over for basketball or soccer or whatever, you know, you go up and just talk with them, and you know, it's just great to get to meet different kids and you know, coaches as well. Even though, you know, we talk all the time anyway, but to actually be able to work with them rather than against them was great.
I feel like that's one of the underrated parts of All-American games or All-Star games or stuff like that, is the coaches getting to know kids that they had played all throughout the year, or maybe several years, like with Coach Adams and Austin.
Yep.
But then, getting to get to know them on that level, and then seeing them the next year or seeing them in another sport, like you said. I feel like that's an underrated part of those games that people don't talk about. Just getting to being able to get to know those kids. I think it helps the kids and it helps you as a coach. I think it's sometimes you struggle, maybe your kids struggle, seeing, oh, you're the opponent, bad. And then you get to know them and you go, hey, you're just guys like us. I love that aspect of it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely. I mean, when I was in high school, our biggest rival, I mean, it's like I couldn't stand that coach on that other sideline. And then a couple of years later, when I'm in college, and I actually met him, and, got to go sit down at his kitchen table and just talk, and he's not a bad guy at all. He's nice.
It reminds me of the interaction between Coach Cutcliffe and Mac Brown.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that? Did you see it this last week at ACC Media Days?
I think so.
No, I didn't see it.
You did?
No, I didn't.
Oh, no, they're just two old coaches, rival teams, Duke and NC, but, they were sitting there giving each other a hard time. But then at the end of giving each other a hard time, a little fist bump there, some mutual respect. So it's just one of those things where you can be better rivals, but then especially when the coaches know each other. And I find this interesting. The more I get to know Alabama ball, I know a lot of Tennessee coaches know each other. There's some that don't know each other as well, but the ones who have been around for a while, it's almost like my head coach, Tommy Thornton, and then one of our biggest rivals was Franklin Classical, and there was a guy named Seth Witherton who was the head coach. So Coach Tommy and Seth knew each other, but then again, you're rivals. And the more I learn about Alabama football and guys who have been around, I love the respect level that there is between these coaches that have been there and they know each other. Obviously, the big games every time they play each other, but then they know each other on a personal level. I love that aspect of it. I think it's great. I think it's great. What you got, Spence?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely good. Let's hope we can have a fist bump with Coach Bell after this one. So, Coach, we started a tradition that actually was started last week with Coach Wilson of James now is Stephen A. Shannon, and we've started the tradition of giving the coaches an opportunity to give their hot take around the 8-man football scene. So, curious to know, are there any hot takes you have? Could be about the football scene, any particular schemes on the field that you don't think works, or any tiebreakers or anything like that. Any hot takes from Coach Bell?
Well, I guess biggest thing that I've discovered about the 8-man football scene is it's not just in 8-man football, but it's think about colleges and whatnot. A lot of people don't think about 8-man football as being quote unquote real football, and that the kids, they're not as tough and this, that, and the other. And think about like Dallas Cowboys have Leighton Vander Esch, who played 8-man football, and there's a few of them out there.
Right.
It's just people don't know. And what we have proven over the last 2 or 3 years with 8-man is that it's real football, and especially our brand of defense. It's just one of those stats that it doesn't show up on a stat sheet or anything, but like last year, of the 11 games we played, there was a total of one team that had a win after playing us.
Wow.
We played. Like I said, our practices are fast and furious because we don't have a choice. So when we get on the field, we play. That's the way we do it.
Mm-hmm.
And Westwood was the only team last year that won their game the following week, and they struggled, but they did win. And you were talking earlier about Ezekiel losing to Lighthouse. who did Ezekiel play the week before?
I played y'all.
Yep, Southern Prep.
It was us. And then when they played in the state championship game and Ezekiel came back and won that one big, who did Lighthouse play the week before?
Southern Prep.
Southern Prep.
There you go.
And then, Ezekiel had played Evangel, beat them by 30 earlier in the year, and then played us down there in Florida. And what happened the very next game? Evangel beat them by 30.
So what you're saying is,
who coached the defense for Team Star, or was it Stripes?
yeah, they use Stripes.
Who coached the defense for Team Stripes and got a shutout in an All-American game against some great players? Southern Prep's coach. There you go.
That'd be mine coaching staff.
There you go.
So what you're telling me with that, Coach, is that Tim Smith probably shouldn't have scheduled you guys the week before the Alabama State Championship. Is that what I'm hearing?
Hang on. Let's see. So, Ezekiel plays Southern Christian after Southern Prep.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll have to look at that game as well.
There you go.
Okay. I'm back.
Oh,
So-
there you go.
There you go.
There you go, Coach. No, I was saying, so what you're saying is that that Tim Smith and the Evangel Lightning should not have scheduled a game with you right the week before their state championship. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, that was last year's defense.
That's fair.
Fair
That's
enough.
Fair enough.
But we have got in the last 2 years, again, you don't normally see this in 8-man ball. In the last 2 years, we've got 7 shutouts. So,
Well, make sure you send your steak dinner preferences to Coach Hunter and Coach JJ. Because if everything works out, they're going to be owing you a nice steak and potato.
Oh, yeah.
well, I won't go that far. I mean,
Maybe you'll.
if they get that far, they've definitely earned it on their own.
There you go.
Fair.
There you go.
Fair enough. Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time out of your Sunday to come on Extreme Talk. We're really excited to cover the Fighting Rangers full-time throughout this season and everything. And our fingers are crossed just like yours are. We're hoping to see you guys again in Florida. It's fun getting to interact with you and your players at that point. But really appreciate you taking the time out of your Sunday. And best of luck to you all in 2021.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Thank you, sirs.
All right. We'll have a good one.
Yeah. Coach,
Bye.
well, Coach Roland Bell, the head coach for the Southern Preparatory Academy Fighting Rangers, joining us on Sunday, and just another
Great
one.
stories. I love that he went. What was it? 11-0.
Yeah, something
11-0 without playing a game.
That's
great.
Yeah, in arena football because of every team folding last
Like
second
literally
and everything.
before the week they're supposed to play, including the championship. That's wild.
Yeah, but I wonder how the locker room celebrated that after realizing that they were automatically league champions after not playing a single game in the season. Especially, you have to think how much that messes with someone's psyche leading up to games and be prepared to play every single week, and then for
But you could also say, hey, teams are so scared to play us, they just decided not to.
Yeah, that's true. And
They mysteriously folded
I
for
didn't-
2 weeks.
I didn't know it was only 4.5 hours of practice per week too.
That's wild.
Having to quickly do those quick reps in, and really, I mean, I guess that's the benefit, especially of having it with military kids, is that they're already like hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. They're on that.
And it's not
time
even
clock,
that. They're in a routine of, hey, get the job done, get in, get
Yeah.
out, don't dilly dally.
Yeah. They're on that
There you
schedule.
go.
Yeah, that's
Wild.
that's incredible, and for them to get to the national championship as well, and to have that position, even with all of those factors that go into it, it's
It was good.
it's pretty special in that. But no, good interviews
There you
today.
go. Good stuff.
Yeah, good.
Alabama bringing it.
Oh yeah, and especially with two coaches that have never been on the show before. So getting two coaches. Hopefully we'll be able to interview them in Florida when we have that in person Extreme
Never know.
Talk down the stretch. But
Never know.
that's several months down the line.
I meant to tell him, hey, Southern Prep, Lighthouse,
Oh boy, I need
DM
merch.
us. I need gear.
He needs merch.
I need more hats.
he needs more hat. Is it just hats, not shirts?
I mean, you could send me a shirt. It's 3X for the size if you need it. But you could send me a hat. It's so much easier. Just hat laying around. Baseball hat. Send me a baseball hat. There you go.
Just find him some caps. All right.
I mean, I'm always proud to
flip around. Yeah, he does that. He reps and then
rep
he
the
flips
big
it around.
orange.
Yeah.
The real big orange. The real UT.
There's not even any orange on that cap. It's just the Tennessee Volunteers.
Well,
logo.
it's a special version.
I know.
Special.
They could have
version.
at least done an orange outline on that, silhouette on it. But I guess that defeats the purpose of the camouflage.
Yeah.
I guess it does. Your forehead's completely gone, by the way. Can't see it. So, well, actually,
Yeah,
I
it is.
can because of being
It's like just a
colorblind.
little bit.
Camouflage doesn't work on me. It doesn't. That's one of the few jobs. If I were to ever go into the armed forces,
What'd you say? Sorry, John Cena was down there saying something to me.
da,
What?
da, da, da. Yeah. It's one of the few jobs I could hold in the armed forces. I can't fly a plane, can't become a pilot at all because of the color coordinated buttons and such. But sniper, I could be a sniper because of being colorblind. If
Color has
I
no
wanted to.
respect to persons. You in that nappy shirt?
Hey man, repping the community college I graduated
Hey,
from.
man. Repping my new nickname.
Yeah, he walked in with that and had the biggest smirk on his face when he was
I
walking
love
in the
it.
studio. Yeah.
I love it.
By the way, P isn't capitalized in Steven.
I know, okay? It was done with a marker, all right? I know it's a little off. I thought about doing like the font, the sarcastic font that all these kids use, where it's like capital lower.
Oh,
like
that's the one.
Stephen A.
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah, that probably would have done an even better justice on that. But no, we need to get one that says Stephen A. Shannon and it has one of your signature faces on there. The face you made when it was like, I'm the most controversial figure in sports. So you walk in, you just have that needs to be the face on the shirt with Stephen A. Shannon.
I'd have to put a little more money in that shirt, and I really don't.
Yeah,
I don't care
probably.
about putting that much money into it. Plus,
No,
I
it'd
already
be-
have a shirt idea for next week.
It'd be merch, and we could sell it to other
Plus,
people.
I already have a shirt idea for next week.
We could sell it to other people as well, though.
It's golden. It's gonna be great.
He says that all
I have
the time
a
with his
great
merch
shirt
ideas.
idea.
Yeah,
I got to
he says
decide
that
if
a
I'm
lot.
gonna execute it or not.
Well, don't execute the shirt. It doesn't need to die that quickly.
I get the dad jokes.
Now he gets it. He just doesn't appreciate
I get
it.
the dad jokes.
So, all right, your usual shout-outs before we wrap it up here.
Shout
for
out
this
to
Sunday.
these coaches for coming on here and bringing it.
Mhm.
Shout out to the last 2 weeks for all 4 coaches
Mhm.
bringing it.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the players who have come through Riverside over the last few years.
Yep.
I mean, just the
I don't,
Trahans,
this certainly isn't
Riley Hall.
This certainly is not the end of the Riverside football
Oh, no,
program.
for
I'm sure
sure.
they're going to be back. It's just
They've still got middle school.
and we did get confirmed that this is the first time they've never had football in their school history. First time. First
Oh,
time
they still
they've
have
done-
football.
Okay, first time they
Varsity.
haven't fielded a team.
Fielded
for
varsity football.
team. Yeah,
Okay,
very
all right.
specific. But yeah, this
Well,
is the
yeah,
first
you gotta
time
be
they never.
you gotta be Pacific.
No, Atlantic. Or you have to be Arctic. Arctic. Stay cool. But yes, you're absolutely
Something you
right.
don't know about.
But yeah, this is the first time under this is the first time that they haven't fielded a varsity football team. It's not, and 2020 is not going to be the last time that they field one.
absolutely
That's
not.
for sure. But
Absolutely not.
hate it for the players, but we'll see how the team regroups and bounces back going into 2022. But at least for 2021, it's 5 teams in the north and 4 teams in the south for the TSI AA, and we'll be fully focused on covering the rest of the teams we're going for this year. It's going to be special.
It's gonna be busy.
So
be busy.
We're always busy. What are you talking about?
You are not kidding.
Like not even I think 3 weeks into the season we're going to be on the road doing an overnighter.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
the last tidbit before we sign off here, we do have our broadcast schedule mapped out. It can change depending on storylines or those kind of things, but at least for the first
Or
3
teams
weeks
saying
of the
they don't
season,
want us coming.
things will be finalized Friday, but the first 3 weeks of the season are essentially gridlocked in. So we know where we'll be going for the first 3 weeks. Not going to
We don't have any
anything.
overnighters the first 2 weeks.
Said first 3. So you're
we
right.
have an overnighter on the week 3.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
why I said in the first 3 weeks.
In the first 3 weeks, what?
We have an overnighter. That's what you see. We're having this is conflict resolution here in person. Yeah, I said in the first 3 weeks we have an all-nighter.
Or you could just say, hey, by the time we get to week 3, we already have an overnighter.
Yes, but how I said it was fine.
We have an overnighter. Somebody
Yeah,
doesn't like driving.
No,
just kidding.
no, of course
I'm
not.
totally kidding.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with driving. It's just through the night and getting home at 2 in the morning from a venue. Nah, I did that. I did that once with when we came back from a Fayetteville game. We came back at like 1 in the morning after dinner and everything. It is, yeah, it's very rough. So, all right, well, that is going to do it for Extreme Talk, presented by GracePointe Healthcare and fueled by Fairlife Core Power Protein. For James, for Audrey, for Brendan on vacation this week, and for the rest of the people getting involved, Spencer Thompson, we'll see you next week as we give you James's predictions for 2021.
See ya!